Hello, Faris Nasser. Sorry, my voice was gone. Let's bring these pieces out. And we have really good center as black. What are you thinking about that? Let's bring other pieces into the game. Probably castle. Okay, my queen side was a little bit overextended. Queen b6. How are you, Faris Nasser? I didn't see you. Very long time. Knight b4 and c2 is hang. I would like to go c4 and open this c-file for my rook. That should be really active there. Okay, there isn't anything under attack. Ah, you are sick. How are you now? Okay, you're not even making videos some days. I was worried about that. Just continue to do that, why not? Okay, I'm happy to listen that. Let's go g6. Okay, I'm not hanging mate, let's be sure about that. Queen h6. What if h5? I am temporarily defending, but queen g5, I think he will play it. Just g7 without protection. He's missing the knight or not? He's probably trying to sacrifice a piece over there. I'm not sure, but he's bringing very much pieces. I didn't thought that he can do it because I don't know. Just I thought my pawn structure was very good to defend that, but he was gonna mate me from h8. Let's play a4. Okay, let's teach you Vienna Gambit. f4 and take will be a little bit, I don't want to say mistake, just inaccuracy, because opponent is giving me really good central pawns, and because this pawn will be very weak, it cannot drop after some moves, and I'm becoming good now. Yes, your channel is really good. Okay, chat, follow his channel. He's making really fun videos. Last time I won 11 games in a row. Oh, that's really nice. How much is your rating now? You improved that or not? Let's castle and then take this pawn, just please don't take. Okay, let's take the knight first to open his king side, because if I take e5 pawn first, probably I won't have enough time to bring it there. Okay, and because my bishop will be hang anyway, let's sacrifice it from b7. Now, okay, very much high rated because you were 100 rated. You are a new player, right? Really good elo, I will say. Let's bring the queen on e2, because if I take, my queen will be hang. But I'm wondering queen b5 check. Okay, let's do that. Okay, that's is under attack. What if check one more time, because I need to see free of that b5, because I can jump with my knight, or even I don't need now. Let's check with the rook. King a8 would be lost after queen c8. Anyway, I will try to go queen a8, and that should be mate. So he can't even move the knight. Okay, he's forcing me queen trade, which was very bad. I would gonna mate him from next move. I will try h3. Not forget to c5 can be moved, or even a3 just I'm trying to attack on his queen side. I think that should be okay. Just some pawn moves, okay, when he's doing great job to kick the knight from h3. Okay, g5, and his central pawn's also really good. When you are down a pawn, when you are down a finger on that middle game, that's not that hard to play, but when you are being on that end game, I can't say like that time, okay? There is really much openings when you need to sacrifice a pawn to bring your pieces activity, like Indian game, Catalan defense, but in that Scandinavian defense you don't need to do that actually. So don't do that, like he brought a6 and did that, okay? And try to understand what your opponent is trying to do. Bishop b8 has only one reason, to bring queen c7 and try to mate from h2, and okay, how I said, he brought it there, that's why I need to bring this pawn on g3 to also remove his defender from that h3, his bishop was attacking there. Also g3, I can try to bring bishop back. I believe not now. h7 is saying the main defender on king side is the knight on f6, because that's also defending this h7. Let's bring the bishop, but I would like to bring my queen on h-file. At that time, probably I could even sack the bishop. Okay, knight g5, let's overprotect h7. Let's overattack on that. And his bishop is probably doing great job. We can take and h6 or not. Okay, let's do that. Because the last piece that will take, that should be my queen. And when there were only queen, that should be probably a drawn position. Or I'm not sure, but because bishop is really good doing his job there, I'm not sure if I take the pawn, f2 will be hang. Okay, let's sacrifice it, because if he takes just king h1, there is nothing he can do about that. Just I'm trying to bring my rook on f1. Probably I tricked him, and he thought that should be blunder, okay? But it's not okay. That's very bad move, I will say, because if I take, he should mate from queen f3 and all that diagonals would be defend. Okay, what is he thinking? What should he do? I don't want to trade because I sacrificed a piece over there. What should I play? I haven't any check that can protect this somehow. But anyway, if he takes, I will lose the bishop. I would like to bring my queen on there and protect, but I think I have to go back. That's not completely losing for me, because I have 2 pawns against his figure, and in the end game when I trade all that figures, that should be, I think, winning or at least draw. So let's try to trade all that. How do you know I'm playing these moves? You are playing or your opponent? Because I have really good experience for that. I can't take the queen, I think that's clear. Okay, Nightbot is saying an inaccurate thing. Don't listen him. c3 can be moved. Okay, let's bring the king in the middle, that's the winning K. When you are bringing your king in the middle, okay? Who's king in the middle, he is gonna win. But we are not counting time because my time is low. King a4, okay. I have passed pawns, I will try to push it forward. Probably make some trouble for him. I'm not spamming Nightbot. I know, just don't listen him, he can't do anything. Okay, very bad. I think we need to play 3+2, not only 3 minutes. Let's change that from settings. Okay, no players that wants to play with me. Send me challenge if you want to play. Forest Nasser if you want. Send me, okay? Patok, I will listen. Well, let's sacrifice the knight. We are playing Alien Gambit. He's doing best moves like c5 is a really great move, a position like that. Bishop d3 should be a little bit good than c4. Because, okay, if he takes should be mistake. I think he's smart player and he don't need to do that. Because if he takes, I will open check. Rook a1 and knight a5, okay? Knight a5, if he takes, I need to bring my pawn on a5 and kick the knight. After that, queen h5, g6 will be so weak there. Okay, let's do it. Just if he takes, queen h5 check. Even I can check from queen g6, try to, not sure, even bishop g6. Let's see how can I move that. I would like to bring the rook on g3. I need a little bit much moves for that, but anyway, I will try to do that. Queen h5 check will be my next move. And I need to bring the rook like this, but I can even f4, rook f3 and g3. That's actually can be ideal. Let's see how can we go like that. I think f4 because if it needs, just I can push this pawn forward. If it's somehow I see that I have to do that, okay? So now I'm not forcing anything. He wants to trade, and then he will force to trade the queens, which I don't like. Let's kick the bishop out, and f5 can be moved. That should be sacrifice opponent. I couldn't take that time, but I'm not sure. Just I would like to bring bishop back and mate from that f7, but that diagonal is really good defended from him. Don't forget to subscribe to not lose any stream. f5, I will try e6 and I will cut out that bishop from this pawn on a6. I would like to do that even e6, his pawn will be completely hang, so if I take that, just see how much my position is gonna be. Probably he blundered that. If I take, sack the queen, check here, check. That's just closing this f file, and somehow I can't check yet. That's very well defended, the knight with three pieces. If he moves, that should be game over for him. Rook b8, bishop f4, but somehow he can defend that rook like bishop d6. But why I like that move? Because I will remove one defender from that knight. Okay, I have to move the queen. Where can I move? If g3. g3, I am attacking the rook one more time, and d6 won't happen. Okay, c2, and because c8 is free just, he could bring the rook, which he's doing. Let's attack on his queen and make advantage from this. How can he defend? Okay, I even didn't see that his queen can't move, because all that squares are defended or not free to jump. this d-file is completely not free. Okay, he check. What should I play? King h1, a7 will be free for him to go. And what should I play? Okay. Can I bring the queen on d3 or not? Probably not. I will try to take the knight because only two pieces are defending the bishop. I will take the knight and no one guards that bishop. So I will take in the next move. We played alien gambit there. That's why our position is so good, and the idea was that white squares are completely give it to me. So he can't bring his queen on another way besides e7. But anyway, I think he will gonna lose that bishop there. Okay, if he takes with a pawn, just rook f5. And because that's pinned, he can't get out from there. Probably he can suck, which I missed, but not much problem there. Just because my white square bishop is doing great job here. f6 is hang. What if I take? Even his time is low, I would like to bring the rook. But no, that won't happen, you know. Just here he can't do anything. He hasn't even any check. He's trying to trade the queens, but if I trade, how that should winning for me. Let's think about that. What if queen h4? Queen a3, okay. Let's defend f4 square, I will say, after some moves later. That's why I need that. Because queen a3 I can block. Can I do that or not? Let's think about that. If I trade, that won't happen. Or that will help, because if he checked with a queen somehow, I think that should be trade anywhere. And now I can take this pawn, probably try to make a new queen, because I think he needs to sack the rook, because his bishop is on dark square. How he will make advantage to take this pawn and bishop here. Okay, I'm really worried about that g7 is protected. I would like to bring the rook there, or d4 and check, but somehow his bishop is doing really great job here. I would like to open this 7th rank, push the pawn forward, try to take something from there, okay? That's the whole idea. He's doing a really great job on that defense, you know? Okay, now let's give it to me. If I take, he would have enough time to defend that. You're in my mind right now. Okay. Thank you that you are thinking about me. Not anyone will do that. Let's bring the rook, probably d1, because b1 will be a little bit defended. So I will open this, because h2 is hang, but just no problem. I'm not saying that, okay? And I would like, not sure, I didn't want to trade, because I could even bring my rook on f8, but because the rook was defending another pawn here from queening, I'm not sure about that, you know, that I could bring it position like that. Let's protect a2 square to not let his pawn go forward. Let's see, can we defend this position or no, because when opponent has another bishop there, like opposite side, that's not easy to win position like that, and that was timeout for him. Really pity that game was. And that's a rule: when you are better, you are trying to win, not time out your opponent. When they are really good players that not playing because for rating, they are trying to win and improve their position. Okay, we are playing against Catalan defense. He sacrificed the pawn on c4 because he's trying to bring that bishop out. And he would try even before try to trade these pawns. And my c6 pawn is doing great job, because if it's not Peter, just bishop will hit b7 and even that rook. That's the whole idea when you are trying to help the bishop to protect all that diagonal and probably bring another pieces into the game and win that. Okay, I will try a5. And okay, let's take. I'm losing a pawn there. Okay, not. That's just was a trade. So that's the thing that I'm afraid of a little bit much. c6 isn't there and I need to go rook b8. I'm trying to use this open check somehow. Not open check, just open attack, sorry. Let's bring the rook on b8 because I'm trying to go b5. If I went b5 right away, just that should be open attack on my rook. And probably I would lose that. Let's play so much risky. Let's take with a rook. I was trying to take with a pawn because his rook was on that a file. He would try even to take that pawn. That's why I have feelings like that. Let's trade. Our queen is a little bit active, but because I'm deactivating his knight on h4, I like that move. And don't let opponent bring his pieces and pin your pieces, because when somehow I need to push this bishop another way, my rook will be hang. Okay, that's why you need to trade all that pieces that under attack. Okay, his knight is under attack. If we take, he will check and take my bishop. Probably he don't need even to take that bishop on h4 because c2 will be hang anyway. Okay, c8. That's why I protected that square, and when you are playing as black, you need to keep your rooks on that second rank, or even if you can first rank. And because that's rule, I'm not letting his rook to go that forward ranks. Now I can fork, and b2 is under attack, the rook is under attack, and f2 is a little bit weak. I could even try to attack on f2, but because that's pinned, now I can't. Bishop f5 or rook. If rook just, that should be another open attack, probably knight a1. My rook would be under attack. That's why rook d5 won't work in position like that. Bishop c5, rook c5 or not, if he gonna take. I think I need to sacrifice that because accidentally we put the knight on that pin. Okay, if I take, d8 will be hang. And how can I defend the bishop and the knight at the same time? Okay, rook b3. If b6 was free, just f2 will be huge attack for him. He needs to bring the rook and protect it. Okay, I think I can't defend this position. Let's resign. I'm a little bit worried about my time because I didn't play so much 3+2, just I was playing bullet and 3-minute game very much at my times. Okay. We don't need to take because even according from computer that should be losing. For me a little bit like +1 for him. And don't let his opponents bring his pieces on that very active squares. So that's where it looks like French defense. When anyone is playing French defense, he will know about this. Just you will know about that if you playing this. Just we played Sicilian defense and he sacrificed a pawn. That's not looks like French defense, but anyway, that's very close to be. You can take the knight, d5 will be a little bit unprotected, but you know can't be any pet. Let's kick the knight. Okay, probably he can't do anything, and see he won't move his knight. Okay, I quested. I think I need to just sacrifice or trade some pieces to not blunder this game, because if I take and h5 will be open. What if I take with a bishop or g6? Because if I take just queen takes after all this trade, he can check with a bishop and king h8 just open attack, okay? That's why I closed the bishop first, even if we take and passant, rook will be on f6 and there would be a position, he couldn't do anything there, you know? If he takes with a pawn, just I will trade that, okay? I'm up a pawn even. Okay, a6 is defended, which really new players are missing. Even when you are playing bullet, everyone can miss that. Not that easy seeing move, you know? If it takes, just my pawns will be double, but see all that pawn structure that I would have. Let's don't worry about that. Well, he thought that he can take knight b4, but if I take the bishop or try to do that. But I will say his bishop isn't really good threat for my position, because that's defended with so much pawns. Okay, g4 is hang, but that's not the idea, because he's trying to bring rook h1. Okay, what if g6? No g6, because I can bring my king on f7. And if g6, just he will check with another rook, and 7th rank will be open for him. So let's not let him do that. Okay, I think we can bring it right here, because knight g6, that should be attack on my position. So I will try g6 probably to kick the rook, but how I said, first rank, I don't want to open that. Բարև ախպեր ջան, ոնց ես? Okay, now we can't bring it on h8. Make higher. Okay, now I think I can bring the rook. Or probably not, because g7 will be hang. Ah, okay, a really good move, which I probably missed, but what should I play? Rook b8, just I need to bring the rook on another way. That's why I didn't like to give him that h-file. The bishop is under attack, but no problem. Not sure he missed that or not, because if I take the pawn, knight c5. Okay, that should be really good for me. Because the bishop is hang, and which is hanging the knight, I will say. I'm gonna take, he can't take because this pin. I'm up so much pawns, okay, 3 pawns. What should he do about that? And now h-file that he has won't help him. Just if I bring the rook on c8. Well, let's do that. He don't need even to trade, but if he's doing, I'm happy to see. That should be winning for me, just let's not be confident so well, because the rook's endgames are very tricky. You can blunder all your time. That's why endgame is the most hard. That you need to think about that and learn that first. We are still defending, but I would like to bring my king forward. Okay, let's defend or not. Okay, let's go, just king on c5, rook f8 on e8 could be a move. Okay, I have so much pawns I can't defend all that same time. If he checks, king a4 or not. Okay, don't have so much pawns. You can't defend all that. That's a new rule from me. Learn about that. g7 is saying that's the pawn which isn't helping me now, so if I lose that, I'm not sure. I won't think that about so much, you know. I'm gonna try to trade the rooks with rook b5. Probably he can take g7. b2 is hang. And rook b3 can be the next move to attack on e3 if somehow king c2 try to defend. Okay, this is hang. a4, the only moves. I think d4 will be a mistake, because I would check and take the rook, and because rook is only defending figure that is doing anything in position like that, we can't go any closer. Or rook g5, only move. And what should I play? I need to bring that pawn. Okay, I'm completely give that 2 pawns, but because I have these passed pawns there, so that should be win for me. Let's check one more time. Just I think he can check and take the rook, but I think it's not, because if he takes the rook after this check, just I will make a new queen. He won't reach to do that. Okay, how I said, he forced to go back. Okay, how can he protect to that pawns? If his king was, for example, on g1, his rook probably can just try to defend that, and if it's not, trade the rooks there, push that pawn forward, or sacrifice the rook for my pawn, try to make a new queen there. So let's sacrifice the rook second time, make a new queen. I'm also trying to check. That's a really tricky position, so I will try to take the rook. If his rook will be a little bit far from that king, I think I can fork that and take. That's very hard, even some grandmasters can't win a position like queen and rook, but he blundered on that 4-5 move. Okay, but also he played very well. He didn't need to do that. That's why I said that's very hard. Also, if he didn't do that, that should be hard even for me to win this game, you know? And also, as defenders, that's not that easy. I sacked the knight to take his queen. It was brilliant. Okay, your elo isn't that much, but you are playing as 1000 rated player. Okay, let's play Alien Gambit. Apres Vartjan. C3. Okay, he can take with a pawn and not with a figure, because with open check I will take the knight, or even from c4, you know. Okay, I don't like bishop g4. If I check, okay, the knight is defending. Can I trick him or not? I'm forcing his knight to go back. Okay, let's do that. And in my next move I will play knight a5 and take the bishop, because this bishop is pinning the knight and the queen. Okay, he understands then that why he traded. My queen and bishop is under attack. Let's go back to also defend. My position is a little bit ruined at this time, you know. But also my dark square bishop can be really good against that pieces. So because his position is a little bit closed, I won't say my position is a really good than him. But I have this open e-file. So what if rook a1? Try to attack on a6. His white squares are a little bit weak, which we are sacrificing the knight on f7. As a reminder, I played Alien Gambit there. I would like to have white square bishop because we are going to endgame, and if it were, just my position should be really good at this time. Let's pin. I don't think that's gonna work, but let's try to do that. We can't say for sure. He can do some blunder, why not, like all players can do. Rook a8 and a2 pawn won't lose because queen a4 from g7 will be made. Okay, but anyway, that a file will be dropped after rook a8 for me. Queen d4 I can go, but I wish I will go there to have some attack, and he did it mistake. Okay, if he takes the queen, which I will say only move that won't lose, I will take the bishop. That was open, that's why he sacrificed first. I would like to bring the rook on d7, and g7 would be really hard to protect. Or probably I can even bring the rook on g3, try to take this pawn. Because in the end game the bishop are really great. You can see it because his knight isn't doing anything, just it can jump only how much? 5 squares, but see my bishop. It can do all this diagonal and even that second diagonal for him. So that's creating huge attack on his position. Like cg7 is hanging, his rook will be on that a7 to protect. Okay, I didn't expect that move because I can pressure with my pawns. I think I can attack on it and take, and he's overextended his position. He can't defend, you know. If he defends, he should be super grandmaster in the future, but there is no way. Just g5 is a very attacking for me. That should be only mistake if we don't count another when he traded the queens and bishop was under attack, which he sacrificed on h2, if you remember that. Okay, let's take g5, and I'm gonna mate or not. I check king h6. I don't want to see his king on h6, but I think that should be only move, because king h8 open attack and his rook will be gone. But h3 is a huge attack, so I'm trying to mate. Can he defend or not? Rook h3. Okay, very tricky move, because at this time he can take the bishop, and if I try to mate, rook will be gone. So let's sacrifice the bishop, because that two pieces were under attack. But anyway, that's a mate trade one more time. We can say that's brilliant, right? We can take the pawn. That's second brilliant, I will say. This should be. Or I don't need it. If I trade, just can I mate or not? Okay, I sacrifice the bishop, because if he takes, his knight will be hang. I think he can sacrifice the knight on g2. And if I take, he won't be down a pawn. And even he would get trade. But knight g2, just I will mate from h3. That's why he sacrificed the rook first. I would like to check and he not take. And I would win that, okay? Okay, he defended this position really good. So that should be drawn position. But let's see whose endgame skill are the most good here. Just you don't need to keep your rook and pawn at the rook and king very close to each other, because that's a common mistake when let's think that my rook on a5, he will check from h4, I have to go back and I will lose the rook. So that's why I said that there is no like queen and rook endgame. You need to have a little bit far from that. Okay, the difference is now I can go back. I lost the pawn. That should be drawn position if even both of us play correctly. That's a position where my king is really close in that pawn. So let's try to draw that. How I know that should be drawn position? Just you need to keep your king on that first line, on that same line where his king is. So because now I can't, I have to go back. I will wait until his king will be on b6, and that's a very common pawn and king endgame. King b3, because king a5 just I don't let him go forward. That's why that should be drawn position. And how I said, you need to keep your king on that same diagonal. So that's for sure, that's a drawn position. King b1, if king a1 or c1, I should blunder that and he would win, but no, that's drawn. Just there is only one move that will save that position, otherwise it's not. King b2, king b4, king b1. Okay, he's trying to trick me, but because I learned endgames, that's not that easy to win me on endgame. Okay, you see, I tricked. Finally I tricked. Very bad. Very bad, I tricked. Just how I said, only one move needed to do that. I want to play with you. Okay, find me on chess.com and send me challenge. We have another Alien Gambit, but I lost my last game when I played Alien Gambit. I won't say about so much games where I won. Like I used to be a 2000 rated player as Blitz, and also 2200 as Rapid, but Rapid is a little bit higher than this. I am 2100 as Rapid. So that's a little bit hard. I'm not calculating very well because for speaking and even a long game, I will say 3+2, which I am playing is a really long. Bishop f5, okay. Sayal Amirza. Find me on chess.com and send me friend request. I will send you challenge, okay? And even you can send me, no difference. What should I play? b2 is under attack. What if b3? Well, let's do that. A little thing that's a little bit worry too. Bishop b4 or e3. I'm not sure that their squares are a little bit weak, but anyway, let's defend this all. Bishop a5 or not? Just I would like to go queen g3 and bishop h6, but because he is also moving his pieces, queen g3, knight h5, he will trade his knight with my bishop. So that should be only lost moves for me. That's why I'm a little bit worried about. Okay, c2 isn't hang, but if a5, maybe just e5, I will lose that pawn. So let's protect that. I will try to bring the rook on h3, and from h7 I will try to take that, okay? But because the knight is defending, I don't want to go a1 and defend this pawn, because that should be really destructive rook for me. So what if rook h3 and another rook? I will take the knight, because the h7 is really protected from that knight. So because my knight is really far from his knight, so how much moves I need? 3 or 4 moves to take that. With a rook, okay, 3. So that should be even rook activation, but because plans are changing, he played h6, which is weakening its position a little bit. Okay, rook g4 a little bit, because if I played rook g3, just g6, he will block my rook wave, which he isn't doing. There is a reason, you know? Queen e2 or not. And he knows that can be some attacking plans. That's why he's still not taking this pawn on c2, but a2, but I think he can do it now, because c2 will be hang after all that. So g7 is, I think, is a really hard for defend. Like c2 is hang now. Can I suck? I think not yet. f3, he will go his knight back and make some trouble. I would like to bring the queen on that a3 or d2 to attack on his pawn on h7, on h6. Now that won't work. Okay, what should I do? Queen a1 or... Okay, that's still defended. I can play f3 and I'm expecting knight f6. Okay, he played, probably he could even try to went his knight back, went his rook back, and from c3 that should be forked. That's why I was a little bit worried about. Let's not let him do that. Also, I'm happy to see this d2 is undefended, because I tried to bring my queen there, h6 is under attack. I think why he misses that. Okay, he's not missing back. queen, he will be up rook at the time. I will try to go b5 and fork that. If he not to take, just a6 will be isolated pawn, which should be a little bit easy for me to take that. So what should I play? Still I can't take. I can't even bring the rook another square to defend g-file for taking h6. But anyway, and the other idea that I'm trying to do, kick his queen. Okay. I can't take, but I can take the pawn. That's a sacrifice, I am sure, but if he takes, his rook will be hung. And also, I am thinking that takes can save that position or not. Oh, okay, he is checking. But if he takes the knight, his rook will be hung. So I didn't need to bring the knight on d4 to defend the knight, and also covering from check. Because a5, because for pin I would lose the knight. And I'm down a pawn. Still I'm down a pawn, but he can take a second pawn with a5 to kick the knight. But let's don't forget that I can go b5 and take this a6 pawn, and if not, I would have a really good passed pawn there. b5, the knight is still defended, and the good news is that I can move the knight easily. My rook is protected, so there is no worry about, okay? If we take, that should be very much. The rook is hang, okay? But that's also defending the knight. g5 won't work, because if I take this pawn, okay, how I said, that's probably because time. Okay, he's not even blundering. Because his knight was under attack. Okay, let's take. And knight c6 or not. But in a time pressure, knight is really tricky. e5, just knight c6, okay. Ah, okay, how could I lose the knight? I thought I went c3. I thought I did that. Well, let's play a4. If everyone wants to play, say me about that on chess.com. Sorry, on chat. And find me on chess.com, okay? We have 22 votes and 82% is saying Magnus is his favorite. Only 5% about Fischer. I think Fischer is my favorite. Just, I like the two legends. In his area, Fischer was a legend. Knight c6. I have even some edits. I'm gonna make some after some days. You can check that on my YouTube channel. That also really good edits I have for videos which gained up than 30,000 views. That should be interesting. Okay, I can't take. Why I even brought my queen on that b6? That's not a problem, that's still defended. Okay, that's a6 because the pawn was guarding before that. d4 or not? Let's go d4 because he's attacking on my rook. Let's try to fork this and he has to take that, okay? Which he's doing. The center is open, I'm not sure that's good or not. If I take, he will bring another rook after taking this. Let's still not do that and bring the bishop. Okay, 1 minute. My pawn structure is really bad, but I think just because a file is open, probably I can bring the rooks or not. Just how can I attack on here? If my pawns weren't on that A and C file, I will push that. Now I can't. But I need to destroy his position. That's still a little bit unclear. How can I do that? Rook C8. Okay. Let's not hang the rook. B4 won't work, A4 will be under attack. So rook C8. I think that's because closed. I would like to bring this pawn on B3, B5. Try to take this pawn, but that's overprotected with all his pieces. The knight, the pawn and the bishop. He's trying to double his rooks. What should I play about that? Knight b4. Okay, and now my rook is free, so I can bring it back if I want. He's forcing me to trade. Okay, now he has this 8th rank, but I think that's really nice that he hasn't that 7th rank, because that's still defended from my bishop. And how we know bishops are really doing great job than the knights in the end game, which I can't say in the middle game, you know? What if... okay, my rook is trapped. I will try to trade the knights. Okay, knight c6, also defending this pawn on b6. Knight a7, we will trade, b6 will be hang, I'm not sure. Probably that's the right time to bring the king in the game. Okay, let's do that. King a5, there is no much pieces to... Also he can fork or pin. And the main thing, there is no queens. He is overthinking there, probably. Not bad for me, his time is running. And there is really good chance to blunder anything there. And even from me, you know. If he takes just, I will be happy, because a2 will be free, so I can jump there with my rook. And what is he thinking? A5 check. Bishop here. Sorry, the king. Bishop g4 somehow, or even h3, bishop g4. Let's be sure that won't happen. Okay, what is he trying? Probably take this pawn after this trade. The knight here or not? Okay, let's do that. Bishop d7. That should be really good attack on my bishop for him. But that's not clear so much. Okay, that was just a pawn. Double pawns which aren't doing anything at this time. Pawn takes. Can I resign or not? I think that's the right time. Okay, why I trapped my rook? Probably I was trying to break this a file, which didn't happen, but if that happens somehow, my position should be really good at the time. Okay. We played like elephant defense. I really like that opening. Bishop e3 will be a little bit deceptive, but how I like that move, because bishop g7, that pawn will be in a really huge under attack. I need to defend that how I can. bishop g5 and knight a5, yes. But probably he will trade the queens and there can't be anything that I will try to do. Okay, let's take, because at the time I can move my knight on a4, attack on his bishop, and if it's not, just queen e2 probably, or not. Oh no, let's not blunder this pawn on d5. a3 before can be moved, because before was a really bad square for him. He can jump with his knight, and I'm not sure. d4 is under attack after this move. I was trying to be safe, to see safe that d5 square to push the pawn, but because that should be pin, I'm not sure how can I defend another way that pawn. Okay, my rook will be gone, but because his bishop is doing great job on that diagonal. Okay, even if I take, the bishop will be hang. Okay, I don't think so, because if he takes, we will see. Okay, you saw? That was really tricky. I took the rook, and what's that position? Okay, he's missing another move here, and that was checkmate. And even if it's not, he will lose the rook on a8. That was really tricky, you know? Let's play a4, knight c3, okay. We will try to play Alien Gambit. Okay, he's playing main line, which is really helping me to try easy win here. Just there can't be on that Alien Gambit, but some players is trying to h6 and bishop g6, where you can't jump on f7 and try to sacrifice a piece, you know? Let's do that. Bishop d3. I don't like bishop c4, because first I need to deactivate his bishop from there, okay? If he takes, okay, he's not taking. Not much players playing like that, because they want to see that pawn on a6. So can I take? I think yes. I think I understand the reason, because queen c4 check, just knight on f7 will fork his pieces. I will try to do that. Queen c4, okay. b5 even won't work. Queen b3 also can happen. So he needs to defend that diagonal, and because there is no other piece to do that, just white square bishop or something else, that should be hard for him, okay? King h7. Okay, you know, no problem. c4, I will kick the knight. Okay, the bad thing is that well, let's get this straight. c4, c5 or not. He can bring it the knight back anytime. That's why I'm not playing it. King h8, and he can move his knight now. Probably that was the idea. Knight a3 just will force me trade. That should be okay, just I'm trying to bring the rook. Probably on g3 or h3, I'm not sure. g3, because a6, if I can bring my piece on that diagonal, the bishop or the queen, that doesn't matter. I will try to take that g7 pawn. Okay, he's pressuring my f7 pawn, and that's why I can't go my rook on that g3 or h3 square. So let's kick the knight and blunder mate in 2. Okay, very bad, just only one move. I thought he was just attacking the pawn, and there is hardly seeing that some figures are under attack. Let's get them. Let's get some development there. Okay, castle, and we can even force him to take. A6, c4, and I'm kicking his bishop. He played 4 or 5 moves with his bishop, and that's only 14th move in the game, so let's not do that. Because you are losing some moves, you could also bring some pieces, most active squares, for example the rooks, but you saw just d3 c4, b3 c2 is a lost 4 moves, you know. Rook a8, bishop c5, okay. He's gonna take, okay, bishop c5. Okay, his queen can even go on g4 on f5. I thought the second that should be on trap, you know. Let's take the pawn. Okay, he had even the check, which is leading my king on that really bad square. Okay, just you need to think what your opponent gonna do, which I'm not seeing that most of the time, but you need to improve that from your chess. Okay, he's not bringing all his pieces on the center, just I can't understand why he overextended his position. And knight a4 can be moved, but he will lose the pawn. And anyway, he needs to go. Okay, it should be moved, but I can attack with a queen and force him pawn push. If it's not, knight a3 will do very bad job. Just it can't move on c4, so let's defend, because a5 will be really good defended from him. Okay, knight a5. Okay, I blundered that. Just I'm playing, and 1 second later I'm seeing that the only good thing that his bishop is gonna lost with really huge cost, but anyway. And his position are so deceptive, you know. How he could do that? His queen side is closed. I would like to bring the bishop. Don't be greedy at chess. He could just sacrifice, because I will try to attack on that g2, probably try to mate from there. I can castle, okay? No one wants to play. I am waiting for your challenges. Rook a8 on and f6. Okay, that's why he went back. He thought that knight g5 just will kick the bishop from that h3. h5, h4, if we not take with the knight, probably I will attack on f4. That's still really tricky, but anyway. That's also giving me this diagonal for my bishop, so even a2 can be in a attack. Why not? g4 can be moved, he can sack the pawn, and rook g2 probably force open this g file. Try to mate from there or not. c4 can't happen, I will help his knight to bring it forward. Just what should he do? Okay, let's go f6. He's up a piece, but his position is very bad. Like that, you know. The knight is trapped, the bishop is trapped. Just that there can't do anything, and he's a little bit slow player. Just I blundered that one move. Don't say about that bad things. And the rook is defending b2, so I'm gonna sacrifice a pawn to take this pawn on g3. Okay, say about me, about your rating. How much is your elo? Is there anyone that up 10,000 elo? Okay, queen c7 and f4 pawn will drop. Okay, let's cut this queen from that pawn and take that. Okay, if the knight moves from g3 will be mate. Probably you can think that should be upon attack, but it's just can't be, you know? I can take and I can't take it back. That's the difference. Takes, check. Okay, I will bring the pawn on h3, and because I will bring the queen on g3, just from g2, the rook can't go, okay? So we will see what we should play in that position. If even the knight moves, how I said, queen g3 can be played and mate, but no, if it's not, because his queen was pinned, I would take advantage from there and took his queen, okay? But now he's moving his queen, which is I'm not sure what move is it. Just because h3, I'm trying to go g3, queen g3 and check, the only move king h1. That's because the only move that should be really good for him. But if he checks and takes something from my position should be really in a under attack, you know? I don't like that so much. But anyway, let's try this. Queen g3 check, what can I do besides that? Bishop takes f3. Queen g3, king h1. Okay, I'm not sure. Probably I need to bring the knight. But what should I do after that? Probably a5, that's the only normal move that I can bring it here, but if I take the knight, I'm not sure. I will give him so much moves that he can try to do anything he wants at the time. I can check and take the knight and then e2. And if I take e2 from h2 and g2, I will try to mate. I'm not sure about that, but anyway, let's try. He can't take with a rook, I think that's clear. Let's take with a rook, he can't take. He will be mate in one. Which I'm trying to do. Okay, if I bring my queen on that king on g file, I'm not sure. Probably he could pin this, okay? Okay, you saw what I missed. I missed that check. Probably king on g8. Rook g1 could be moved, but not that bad game, you know? Okay, we have other alien gambit there. Mostly players playing this Karol Khan at these times. Probably they are trying to prove that alien gambit won't work, but anyway, I love that gambit. I will try to win all these games with that opening, you know, bishop e7, just check. And mostly players are trying to keep this pawn on a6, which my opponent isn't doing. Let's check from g5 because a5, that should be queen trade, which I don't like. a6 is a very weak, so if I go there, from f7 will be made. Okay, his miss is made. Really good, like I won in just 14 move in that alien gambit, okay? He resigned. Very well played. He had also really much moves. If he thinks a little bit more, probably he would try to defend. He was trying, but it was a really tricky position. Alien Gambit, according to the computer, that's a really, how can I say, bad opening. That's why, even when you are sacrificing the knight on f7, according to the computer, that's mistake. Or blunder, I'm not sure about that. But anyway. But the idea that you are winning mostly that in that alien gambit when you are sacrificing, because that's very tricky opening, you know? That's very tricky. And because his white squares are very weak at the time, that's a very great also for your bishop. But if bishop f5, when they are going there, just you need to trade to weaken his position more. Follow my channel to not lose any stream. That also will help me for have big channel, which I'm dreaming about. This pawn is gonna hang. I would like to take it with a queen, just if he's not defend with a queen, so I don't want to trade. Because if he even castle queenside, I will bring the bishop on f4 and his dark squares will be very weak at the time. I would like also to bring queen there and mate him, because when his position is open and his king isn't safe, try to save your king, your queen. Okay, probably he needed to try to trade the queens, which he isn't doing. Just queen d7 should be a mistake. He needs to guard that e4 pawn. Probably he said that, okay, I'm giving it to you, no problem. And now g7 is hang. And I can't even try to use this pin. If I bring the rook or the bishop, probably I can't take that, because that's a really good defended. The only thing that I don't like here, if I take g7, that should be really good attack on my positions, so let's still not do that. I will try to bring the bishop out. If he takes the pawn, he will win it, okay? But if he takes with the knight, how he forces to do rook d1, I will pin his queen and with his knight, and that should be GG. d5, he can't take, but when he take the knight, that pawn will lost, but his knight was hang. He would lose a piece if he do like that. And because I kicked the knight, now I can bring my knight on p5. Let's see if he gonna take with a queen or not. Oh, okay, I can even check him from c4. So if he takes, I think with the knight to sacrifice it on c6, because I think he needs to sacrifice this position. Sacrifice a figure in this position to save his king, because that's really good defended. And how I said, I will try to use that. And I'm doing that, okay? King a8. And I don't need even trade the queens. Let's pin, and there is no piece that can defend that, okay? Like bishop e5 and I don't know. His queen is under attack. Sorry, wait a minute. Well, his queen is under attack, he will lose that, and that's why he resigned. Very well played. If you want to play, send me challenge. I will play with you all, doesn't matter how much is your rating and so on. Okay, bishop b4, I can even try to take the knight. His pawns are really bad damage there, but we don't need to take the knight, because if we take, he will have that really good pawn chain, so I don't want to give it to him. Also, I gave him that bishop, and test said that bishop is a little bit better than the knight, so I gave my bishop for his knight to have this, so help him have this really bad pawn structure there. Okay, I lost a pawn. Not problem, because now I'm defending this diagonal, so still he can't castle. And c4, just he can somehow block and try to attack my position, even block that bishop to castle. And the long castle even won't help him. That's really opened. Okay, g7 is under attack. f6 or not? Let's go f6, bishop f5, and okay, even d6 is opened. No problem, because his king still in the middle. I will try to attack on a4. Just that should be really great move. He can't take, and also I'm pinning. So in the next move I will take the bishop, and he hasn't enough time to bring his king on that safety. He tried to go c4 just for save his f1 square for castle. Even now he can castle, you know. Okay, but I will take this pawn first to not let him castle one more time, which he's trying to do. And that's really good when you are keeping your opponent king on the center and bringing all remaining pieces. Also the rooks and the queen, that should be overextended for his position, but king f2, probably he's trying to castle like that, but I'm not sure that will work. I'm just defending all that position, so he can't go back. King a1, I will try to mate from this position. Okay, even king f3, no problem. I will sacrifice the pawn on a5 and queen a3, and if it's not, just a4 is hanging. Let's see how he gonna choose to lose this. I think that's already winning for me. I'm not even up a pawn. I'm even trying to sacrifice that, but I'm not sure how can he defend this position. I'm trying to take that a2 square control. Okay, that should be almost made. King e2, just he will lose his bishop. King e2, what if I check first? I think no need, just let's take the bishop. Why not rook g1, queen b5, so I would like to bring my one rook on that fourth rank on something else, try to mate him. That should be a really good idea, but because I tricked him on the opening, I am forcing him to do moves, and somehow my position is a little bit forced too, you know? So, let's see. Bishop d5 probably. Okay, d7 is saying, but if he takes, I will be only happy about that. For open my position, and then I can bring the rook so fast. Piece activity is the most important thing you need. Is there anyone that hide that house on yellow? That's interesting, you know, because when you are a house on yellow, you are really good player, and according to chess.com you're playing good than 80% of people in chess.com, and we will say only from chess players because they are very much people on earth that didn't know even how to play chess. c2 a2 is hang, so I can even bring the rook. I would like to have that b file. Okay, I will play Վարդ Էսա challenge ուղարկես, հա, այս խաղից հետո ուղղանք։ Okay, b8 is still defended. Okay, but if I check, if he goes light square, I will check one more time with my bishop. That should be a little bit tricky. I can even trade the queens. Just a3 check. Not sure. I want to win that with mate probably. Okay, bishop f3. I think that's a really tricky move because I thought that queen a1 check can happen. But because rook d1 I didn't play that, so I'm forcing his king to go b1, and at that time he would lose the rook. Okay, I'm sending a challenge. Okay, really high rated, almost 14, not almost 1500 rated player, okay? And wait, that's lagging. Well, let's send him 3 minutes. Okay, let's start to play. We have Sicilian defense, also d5 can be moved. Okay, let's do that. So I will bring another pieces. We can double our pawns, but because that should be like on the center, I will not double that pawns, so I'm gonna say there is just no bad thing, you know, to double your pawns in the center. Just if there was on a file or b file, I can't say anything about that. That's probably should be even losing for you. Bishop a6 or not. Bishop a6 also can work. I could even bishop a6 to have this diagonal, and if he somehow tries to push this pawn forward, defend that somehow. Queen a5. Let's try to kick his bishop, and if he takes I will be happy, which he's not doing, because my bishop would be in a really good place on that diagonal. c4 or not? I would like to go d4, but because his knight can jump on there, a4, just I'm weakening these squares, so I don't need to do that. c6 is protected after queen b6, okay. What should I play? I would like to bring my bishop on d6 because on a7 is this isn't doing a great job, I will say. Besides, he's protecting the knight. I would like to trade that. How can I do? I won't take, because if I take, just that will help him. a4 will be unprotected, he can jump with the knight. and make some trouble in my position. That should be my pawns being very weak. That will be double, and that should be really hard for activate that. Okay, if I take, that's why take should be mistake. When you are taking a piece, you need to think about, is that gonna work or not? How can that help me? If just, can it help me or not? You need to think about that all the time before taking a piece. Probably knight a5 can be moved, but I went rook a8 to go rook a7. Okay, and I can take this pawn on h3, because if he takes the bishop, his knight will be hang. Let's do that. If he just take another pawn here, because anyway his knight is gonna drop, I will take the rook, and that should be okay position, but probably he misses that. I will be happy if he trade the rooks, because now I'm up a pawn. So I need to close this position with bishop e6. And what should I play? Queen a5. Probably he's trying to bring his pieces on active square, but just a4. I will try to break this pawn chain. That's endgame that you need to learn. a4. Okay, if he takes, just that not lost a pawn for me. c6 is hang, not a problem. Just because I created this passed pawn, I am forcing him to take. And what should I play? I am gonna take the knight. Do you see that or not? Okay, let's do this even with a pre-moves. Okay, you saw? That's why in the end game your king will be on the center when queens aren't. But if they are queens on the board, you need to keep your king in the safe and try to prevent from checks, because that somehow would be very tricky at the time. So I have even passed pawn, and even if I completely give my bishop, that should be winning, because opposite that even rook and pawn endgame, which is really hard even when we are up a pawn, that should be really easy to win that game. When you have pawn and queen and opponent has only one queen. Okay, so let's play a4. We have Scandinavian defense on the board. Okay, knight f6 could be also move. c4 or not? c4, d4 actually can be moves. Or knight c6, that should be okay. d4, I am trying to get this really good center here. Bishop f4, okay. And a3, b4, why not? Just I'm not sure, in that Scandinavian defense most players trying to long castle, but because that's a little bit overextended, he played h6. I don't think he will play h5, but we will see it. That's because g5 is very well, I don't say protected, but when I bring any piece on g5, even that pawn, when there isn't protecting the g5, how can I get some advantage from here? That's so unclear. d4 is hang. I will lose that after even go forward, so let's defend with a bishop. He can't kick that bishop with a pawn to force me to go back, and that's still defended. Let's take the knight because a4 is free, and h7 isn't protected. So from h7 I'm trying to mate. G6 probably only move that will defend. Okay, which is playing c5, knight d5. I don't wanna give him that d5 square advantage. So that's still unclear. f4 and f5 or not. Not sure about that, even this pawn is hang. Let's go back to defend, but that's not a plan. I'm trying knight f4 and sack the knight. But knight f4, if it takes that pawn, I'm not sure. I think first we need to defend this. Probably bishop back or c4 will be hang. And I'm not sure, there is so much moves that I can play in this position. f5 or g4 or f5. Let's not open his rook side. I think that actually should be okay. c3 can't work, b2. He can jump there, but what after that? That's so unclear. What if bring the rook on g3? I'm trying to overpressure this g3 because there is no much pieces that can protect that. So probably I can gonna sacrifice a piece over there. Let's bring the rook on f1 because somehow if that file will be open. That should be pinned from d2. So he took the bishop and I have no much attack on that g6. I will try to bring the rook, but I can't sack the rook, okay? And now I can go d5, but somehow that won't work. His bishop isn't doing a great job, but can I try to trade? Just that will open this queen on f6. But because he's really pressuring my pawn on d4 with his bishop, not sure, I don't need to keep the knight, which isn't doing great job like his bishop, and also if bishop go back, that should be overprotecting his position. Okay, that's really unexpected that I can't defend this pawn on d4. d5 or not? Okay, I'm gonna lose that pawn, but let's not lose on time. That's really I have chances. Let's go back, defend f4, so we can bring the rook in this position. I will try to trade. Okay, now I can't take. What if queen c5 and take this pawn? I need to do some pre-moves, otherwise I will lose on time. What if I try to go forward and try to make new queen? Why not? Rook a3, okay, I don't need to take. Okay, this and a6. Just if he takes, he will lose the rook. What position is that? Just I don't want to get mate, but my time runs off. I would check from b2 and make a new queen there. And there shouldn't be any mate threat, just my time runs off. Let's send him rematch. Very well game played. Also 4 queens on the board. On that end game, you know. a4. We have Sicilian defense one more time. My favorite opening. d5, let's get this center. Knight c6. That's really close to be our last game when I were as black. That's our third game. But I won that position. I wish I will win this too. I will castle. If anyone wants to play, send me challenge. I will play with you all who wants. Well, let's castle. Bishop g4, okay. Let's take with a pawn, because that's actually defending this pawn on d5 if somehow he wants to attack on there. And if we get some pawn trade, just I will undouble this pawn, okay? Rook b8. This pawn is under attack. And let's pin. h3, probably g4 can be moved. Okay, he's defending his knight from knight d2 very well. So I believe can't be anything that will force him to go back or something. I don't know. Queen f4. Just after this trade, that still should be okay, but I'm wondering how can I take to damage his pawn structure on king's side. He don't need to take, but if I take and bring the rook, the d5 will be completely mine. Even temporary, but I'm not sure. I take. I think g4 can be moved, but can I suck or not? I think I can. I have a plan. If g4 I will suck the knight, and if for example kick h1 or f1 I will take the rook. He has to take with a knight, with a queen, because if the knight he will lose the queen. I mean the rook, because after this trade. And what should I say? One thing even can happen. Yes. If he takes with a queen, just knight will be lost. Okay, how I said, let's try to do that. That should be fork in this position. If I take, he will take with a king check, king f1 check, king g1. His knight wouldn't be lost, okay? Let's check him from h3 and take the rook. Let's take the rook and then the knight on f3, and we will be up 2 pawns, but also his position is ruined. So if I somehow bring the rook on that a8, but because I can't bring on a8, I will try from b4. He needs to protect that b4 square. I believe that's won't work. Queen g3. But anyway, I will try this idea. I will take, because now his pawn is isolated, so that should be really easily for me to take. I would like to bring king on h7 and bring on king side, but because his rook went on a1, I need to protect that a8 or a7, and now he can't bring the rook on my side, try to take that queen side pawn and win this game. So because I wish that queen side will be closed and I can push these king side pawns forward, try to win that. Okay, before is hang. I'm up 2 pawns, I sacrificed the knight for this. I would like to trade this 1 pawn, and because I would have 2 pawns, I will push these pawns forward for making a new queen. Okay, I can't defend c6 anyway, but I have really good pawn which has only 3 squares to make a new one. If g3, probably I will lose that pawn, so Let's keep these pawns with each other. To be sure we won't gonna lose anything. That's why you need to learn endgames, because one mistake you could lose that. And even if he takes d5, probably he could have some attacking, not just defending, which he couldn't, because two pawns are really tricky a position like that. Scandinavian defense one more time. He played this position and won that game. He gained really good position, you know. What should I play against it? I'm remembering some moves that he played. Let's think about that. What should we do? Bishop e2 or c4? That's a problem. That's not sure. If bishop not g4, just bishop a2 is a move that no need you. Okay, we can try to deactivate the bishop from d3. Just let's trade. His bishop will do great job there. Just create some attacks which I don't like. Well, let's castle. And okay, I said the moves that he will gonna play, and he really played that, you know. I will double the rooks, and probably I will wonder to sacrifice the knight on e6 or f7, just for take two pawns in that center. Okay, my bishop is under attack. Bishop a5, he can go f6 and kick the bishop, but because I'm doing this, because after that a6 will be very weak, probably he even tried to take the bishop for long castle, because he was gonna almost lost the position when he long castled, and my bishop were in of f4, and from c7 he hardly defended that in our last game when I played as white. Okay, don't forget about follow my channel. I will play with you and I will help also to improve your chess. Just write me about that if you have any questions about chess, just about chess games. I will respond happily. That's educational channel. If anyone have questions, say it to me, I will respond, okay? We can trade the knight. I would like to trade the knight, which is defending h7 very well. It's with me you are playing. Okay, I know. You played very well actually that one game. I will say all the games, but you need to think about your end games a little bit much. That's the most weakness for you about chess. But in the middle game you are playing with no problem. Okay, I will try to bring the rook. And because h7 isn't defended, knight I would like to jump, but bishop is doing really great job to defending that. So what if c3? Let's go c3 to not plunder this pawn on b2. And because I will plunder this pawn, I would have to isolate it pawns, which should be really easy for winning that game. I'm wondering rook a3 and g3, but this knight on a4 will gonna drop, so I don't like that. Probably another rook on a1, because you need to activate most disactive piece. But I'm happy to see his queen isn't defending a4. He can't take the knight, so rook g3 or not. I think the dark square bishop can defend somehow g7 or even rook d8, bishop f8. So I think that should be the right idea to attack on his pawn on h7. How can I do that? Oh, he's trying to mate. Don't let him do that. Rook a1, still he can go queen d1, and still I can't take. Just I don't like to go g3 or something. Oh, okay, that should be mistake. Probably because for time pressure. f6 is hang and I will hang h7. That should be hardly defended. And okay, that's mate. Queen g5 or not, it's mate. Thanks, I'm self-trained unfortunately. Okay, but you are playing very well, just 1400 rating isn't just joke. I prepared chess with my trainer 3 years, but 5 years, like I'm playing 8 years. I'm playing with myself, just not playing, I am training with myself. And also myself is really great job, you can try it, all you can try it. Because you are analyzing your mistakes and you don't repeat that so much times like you did. That's why the experience you need to have. That's why you are how you are gaining experience. Let's take this pawn. This bishop is so active there, but I can't bring my bishop yet out. Let's bring the queen, attack on b2. His kingside is a little bit overextended. I would like to move this knight and then the bishop, but because that's pinned, I can't move that, okay? Let's go d4, so his knight can jump on c3. And a4, a4. Just because I would like to bring this on active square, now I can't. But because he castled, I was waiting for that to attack on his position. Okay, knight d6 can be moved. I won't be happy to see that for sure. I have to go king d7 after that. Okay, he probably missed or not. But I think he can do that anytime he wants. I would like to bring this on activity, just I think I have to go king d7 to bring the knight on d5, attack this bishop also on c3, that should do really great job there, you know? Okay, that's the only move I'm playing it anyway. He has really good protection on that e5. It can jump with the knights, and how much? Only the rook on a1 isn't protecting that square. Okay, knight d5. Let's trade this. Probably after that, rook a8. If he not trade it, I'm not sure what should he play. Rook a8. Okay, check. The bishop will be lost. I will take, and another file will be open for me, which I'm happy to see. My position isn't bad enough because that was really bad after before 10 moves, I will say. My bishop was blocked and another figures over there, the knight and so on. Another thing that my king isn't defended very well, but because all pieces are defended, probably he can't take anything from there besides pawns. I would like to not see his knight on c4 and try to take f2 pawn. Queen g6, knight f4, and see how good will be the knight that will protect this pawn and attack this and attack the queen, but because c6 will be hang, let's not hang that, and if he even plays queen h5, just h5 will be open for me. That should be risky for him, but I will play anyway, and he's missing his fork. probably because time pressure, but I'm not that sure about that. Well, he took with a check. Oh, okay, he could took with a check, right? But his queen is still under attack, and this pawn. But if I take the pawn, f2 is hanging too. I would like to take with a check and sack the knight. Okay, let's do that because I'm happy to see I can bring the queen on d7. Queen e6 would be great job there. He's not playing. I'm gonna sack the rook. Well, let's do that. Okay, f8 is protected. If I bring the rook there, probably that should winning for me. Okay, bring it on a file, please, and lose immediately. Okay, he did that. Okay, but I'm forking and taking his rook. I'm down a knight, but it's gonna be made after some moves, and he played right to sacked the queen because it's not that worse, but you know my time is low. There is high chance to blunder anything. He's double my time. Okay, I'm doing this pre-moves. I don't know if it's right or not, but anyway, he tried to trick me and that should be made. And king b2, I think he will gonna do that. He resigned. Well, he resigned. Very well played. Let's play one more game with him too. 4-1. We can play d4 this time. Let's see how he gonna respond. For this move, we will play Catalan defense. I'm not sure you know that or not, but if you are down then that 1200 rating, I won't recommend that to you because you are sacrificing a pawn anyway, and you haven't really good attack on that center, but you will try to open the center to do great job there. Also to have this e5 really good square when you can jump with the knight from c4 or even with the knight on f3 to also open this bishop. But because this bishop will be really good in the end game, you need to keep it how much you can. If he takes, I will take with the knight. Also a4 or not. If he takes, I take. The bishop will defend that too. So only that time. g5, probably he will think if I go back, he will take and double my pawn. But if g5, I will take the knight first on d7. If here, I will take the rook, okay? Okay, I can't trick him somehow. And that's not a position like that. But I would like to go a4. You know? a4 is even can't happen there. I would like to protect with one another piece to go there, but what can I do? Or I need to just remove the defender from a4. Just knight h4, okay? Bishop h7, okay, I expected that. What if I sack the knight and take on e6? That's still unclear. Let's play a4 right away. d5, I'm not sure. His knight is defending that d5 and also another knight. So if I can even go there and not lose a pawn, that should be not that good. Because my queen and bishop are doing great job here. Bishop will do great job in that end game, so I'm waiting for this. Just you will see that. If he takes, that should be okay, right? Let's bring another rook into the game. If we even try to open this d file, that should be okay, you know. He was trying to take the knight on h4, destroy my pawn structure on kingside. So I will take the knight in the next move. If he trades, for sure, because like Capablanca said, you need to keep your knights forward, then bishops d5. His knight on b6 is doing great job. What should I try to bring this on a5? And at the time he will go back. Well, he's taking probably bishop h3 or not. Not sure, you know? When you are seeing his knight on g6 or b6, just try to push h pawn and a pawn to kick that. You need to just 2 moves for that. That should be really great, you know? Okay, I can't even not to take because I will bring his queen on that really good diagonal. Because I'm trying to open it. I don't want to see his pieces on that open diagonal. Well, let's trade. And if he takes, I will be happy. My pieces will be hyperactive in that position. Let's take with a bishop to also attack on his pawn on b7. So with a rook won't be mistake, but if he let me to bring another pieces in here and not rook d8 to trade that, also that should be really good position after that, but he won't let me do that. Now we are attacking on the bishop and g7 is saying where I will take that exchange. But that didn't happen because his time ran out. But that should be winning for me somehow. Okay, e6. Another Sicilian defense, okay. I like that, but probably at this time g6 and bishop g7 can be moved. I'm trying to do my best. Okay, I'm waiting for your best. I think just in the start when we played, you did your best, and that's become a little bit not easy to play. That's probably now I know how you are playing, because I am trying to know your weaknesses, okay? That's probably can be the reason, because when Hikaru played with Magnus some games, 30 games if I'm not mistaken, at the tournament, when the tournament will happen, he knows, Magnus knows how Hikaru gonna play, and that's why Hikaru lost all his games against Magnus. He knows how to win Hikaru, and how we know Magnus understanding is a really good than the Hikaru. Just Hikaru is really fast when we are speaking about calculation or fast play, okay? Like when we are saying fast in chess, we are remembering Hikaru, but in his prime. Okay, rook a8. Just knight a4 can be moved, okay? If it takes, c4 wouldn't be hang. But anyway. If he takes with a pawn, just a4 is free, so I can jump there. Don't think about c4 pawn, that's defended. So I can even bring more defender on it to block his bishop on a2. Well, let's take. Or I can even take the knight first, because now his pawns will be double after take. His bishop will be lost. And because if he moves the bishop, I can take the rook. And I'm not sure, that probably should be good. Because if rook a1 or something, just his rook wasn't that bad, you know. If I suck, he's defending with 2 pieces. But now my rook is trapped, so he will gonna take that anyway. That's not bad, you know, because I'm up exchange at this time. And I'm overprotecting e-file, and somehow he can't jump on a5 and deactivate my figures. So I'm trying to queen a2. When you are playing as black, just bring your pieces on that second rank. Well, he's not even taking, but I think he will gonna lose a pawn. He's trying to iterate, and he will have protection on for b2 after he will take with a rook. So let's take the bishop or not. Oh, I'm not sure now. I can't go my rook on e2. Okay, anyway, let's take. I'm not up anything. Rook a1. Okay, let's take. I think my king is a little bit forward, and even this can help for me to win this game, you know. Just a little activity, and endgame is about that. That's why endgame is a really hard. So we have enough pawns there, and he needs to bring his king so fast, so he can just. I don't like that pawn forward moves. We can sacrifice the pawn. Probably g4 he will play. But king f4 and f5. Just I'm pushing him back. I think he hasn't much moves. Okay, that's why I can now bring the king on queenside. Because his pawns will be blocked with my pawns. And then I will force him some moves. And I did, because he went his king on g2. And because I would gonna take that queenside pawns, and when he resigned. Okay, he didn't actually play that bad. But anyway, just when you are experienced player, that's you need to learn about endgames so much. Do not blunder anything there. You took my force. Okay, you didn't play that much worse. Don't be so afraid from it. Just there is 300 rating difference. Also, I reached 2000 in my prime. Just now, I don't know why that's a little bit not much rating. And even my rapid rating is 2100. Also I reached 2200. Okay, so I'm not that bad player how you are thinking. My bishop is open here, so he can even try to trade that, you know. Rook a1, I am trying to go my knight on a4 to get some trade to open this d-file for me. Okay, let's do that. And if d-file will be open, probably bishop d6, and after this trade he can't castle. I'm not sure, but anyway, let's try to do that. He's not even taking knight d6, always see forward moves. So if I go forward, I'm not sure knight d6. Can I go there or not? I will be happy if we trade the bishop, because the bishop is a little bit good than knight. I think the bishop is 3.5 points, because that's a little bit good than the knight that's protecting so much squares, so we can't say about the knight, but the knight is very tricky, you know, and in crossed position the knight hasn't equal for him. So I will be happy if we trade on a5, because if my bishop were there, just I will try to take the knight on f6 and damage his pawn structure. Also his position at that time would be opened, you know? So he's not gonna blunder anything. Or he's gonna do bishop e7 just because his rook is defending the knight. Not sure, you know? Is he gonna lose a rook? He has to take the bishop to not lose the queen. So after that his knight is hang. So I'm gonna take that, you know? That should be winning. Well, let's wait how he will respond. Okay, he took his... but that was hang. Okay, sorry, I have to gun. Okay, you need to learn more. No problem, we all need to just learn more. Okay, let's end this stream. Thank you for playing. Thank you all for via my channel. And goodbye. See you in my next stream.